Hello and welcome to today's Daily Rift. I'm Stormo, and I didn't really do much Diablo 3 on the weekend. I had many other things to do, and just didn't really get around to putting a lot of time into it. So, yeah, that was interesting. I haven't had a look at the PTR yet still. Again, every time I've attempted to get on, it's just been full, and I don't really want to wait for long queues. But, yeah, in general, pretty good weekend, and pretty good start to this Rift, I think. A bit low on the density, but we're killing things pretty quickly. I ended up gemming a little bit after yesterday's Rift, which was Monday. That seems to have improved this character a fair bit. So, yeah, probably be doing a fair bit of damage here. Oh, the Grenadier skill. Which would be great if grenades were still a good talent, but it's not. So, yeah, I'll pass on that. So yeah, not a lot else has been happening. Just sort of working my way through. I actually spent a fair bit of the weekend actually playing Banished, which is a basically a sort of very sedate survival-focused town-building game that came out early last year, and it's one of those games that I just, every so often, I'll just feel like playing, and I open up and I just have a good crack at it. It is a really good game, really fun, and yeah, worth it if you like that style of game. Like, it sort of mixes, I guess, those survival-based games, kind of like, say, Don't Starve or something like that, but with a more city-building focus. So I guess Don't Starve means, I don't want to say Sim City, it's not quite that complex, but I have to admit I have had a lot more fun with it than I had with the most recent SimCity game. But then I think stabbing yourself in the chest would be slightly more fun than playing the most recent SimCity game, because it was just not very fun. Still waiting for Maxis, in fact, with that to increase the restriction on city size, because that's 90% of my problem with that game. Like, there's a good game buried in there somewhere, but there's a few really questionable design decisions, and one of them was the decision to restrict the size of the cities to such a level that it's very easy to run out of space very quickly, and pretty much always do. Although in my case it also doesn't help that the game basically ate an entire city of mine after I'd put like 30 odd hours of play into this particular city. And then one day the server decided not to load it, because of course the other thing with that SimCity game is that it has an always online feature. And I'm not normally against always online features, but they need to work, and SimCities didn't. And they did add an offline mode later, which works okay, but by that point I'd basically lost interest in playing the game. So I'm sure someone out there is drawing fun with classic SimCity. Banished, on the other hand, is a bit more focused on specific people, I suppose, houses and particular people being built and stuff like that. It's actually a pseudo-fantasy setting, I think. Like, it's not, I wouldn't call it fantasy, like, there's no magic in the game or anything like that as far as I can tell, but at the same time, it's suggested that the conceit, and the reason it's called Banished, is that the town you're establishing is being founded by people who've been banished from some kind of civilization, be it some kind of city or empire or something. It's not really made clear why they've been banished, but that's sort of the basic conceit that the game has, is that you've got to make these guys survive and allow them to build a town. And there's very little reference to this in the game itself. Like, about the closest thing you get in terms of references within the game is every so often nomads will arrive in your town. Hang on. Oh, okay. Sorry, I misread the minimap. I thought there was no more corridor up this way, but there is. Here we go. Yeah. Okay. Sorry about that. Anyway, yeah, so Banished is really fun. It's basically a game where you've got to be careful about managing resources and population growth, because I've lost several towns in Banished, and unlike a lot of these kind of games, Banished does have an end state where all your villagers can actually die, which is not good. And I've lost several towns because I either didn't grow them fast enough, or I grew them too quickly. In the first case, what will generally happen is you'll have this problem where if you don't grow the town fast enough, a whole bunch of your citizens will die of old age at the same time, and you end up with a significantly reduced citizenry. And it's even worse because if you end up with no adults in the town, it just becomes children. They can't feed themselves, and that can be a problem because it means that they will die. On the other hand, if you grow too quickly, of course, they consume too many resources too fast, and they starve to death, pretty much. Or freeze to death, because that's a thing that can happen to your citizens in the game as well. But other than that, it's a pretty fun game. I think it's like 1 or 2 people who develop it, and they do a pretty good job, or he does a pretty good job, of making it really interesting. This is a really confusing layout. I think I go this way. Let's see. Nope. Ah, up there. Okay. This is a really confusing layout. Okay. So on the right side, it looks like we didn't quite clear this area before, so come back through it. Get this out of the way. Pick up all those guys. This guy. That explains why they didn't drop them. There was more of them. Not that they've dropped anything interesting, but oh well. So yeah, Banished is pretty good. Anyway, speaking of games that I'm playing other than Diablo 3, I have Dead or Alive 5 last round that I need to review this week. I'm not sure I'm going to do a video on that one though, just because partly because the most interesting part of the game is a part I can't actually record. I've got a PS4 copy of it, and for some bizarre reason, Tecmo have seen need, or Team Ninja have seen need to prevent the story mode of the game from being recorded, and given the story mode is like the part you would most want to actually like record, that's a bit annoying, I think. And I mean, it's a fighting game story mode, so I don't know why they're so protective about it. And even worse than that, of course, if I had the PC version, I could happily record it without any restrictions, so I'm not sure why they've even bothered with that restriction. Hopefully that gets patched, because it's like, I mean, yeah, sure, you mostly want to play the arcade modes or the online versus mode and stuff, but if for the purpose of making a video, the story mode is sort of the best source of material, I guess, in the sense that it's crazy and confusing and doesn't make a lot of sense and has a lot of really weird and funny moments in it. I wouldn't say it's one of the better story modes in a fighting game, but it exists. And there are worse story modes. There are worse story modes in Dead or Alive games, actually. But yeah, it's sort of a change from... They've gone with that story mode style that sort of was introduced, I guess, in the Mortal Kombat reboot a few years ago, I suppose, where it jumps from character to character and it just tells this sort of cinematic story and doesn't really care which characters you're good at or not. So there's no individualized character story, it's just this long story mode for all the characters. And it's something, yeah, the recent Mortal Kombat games and Injustice, which was by the same team as that, also did the same thing. I'm kind of hoping that someone gets an idea to make a story mode like that that's not as linear as those story modes are. I mean, they're fun to play through, but there's only one way of getting through them, really. So, but yeah, I had fun with it. I got through the whole story mode in like an afternoon, if that, and yeah, it wasn't difficult. But yeah, mostly you'd be doing the online verse and the arcade modes. They're just not as interesting to make videos about. So I don't think I'll be doing much with that in terms of videos for the channel, but I do have to write a review of it for Rocket Chainsaw, so that will be a thing that happens this week. It's sort of my actual goal for the week, unfortunately. So yeah, I'm hoping to record a bit more Final Fantasy 13 this week as well. That's something I haven't done a lot of. That should be fun. Anyway, where are we in this rift? We're about 3/4 away. We've sort of been going slowly, I feel. Just ambling our way through here. It hasn't been that fast. I thought it'd be faster because I put some more gems in my character and got it leveled up a bit. So. But that was not to be. So we're doing okay though. We're probably going to get another level before the end of this rift, or if not before, then certainly once we turn the quest for the rift in. So, back this way. I'm just getting really dumb layouts. I don't know. I don't like these layouts. Speed pylons are great. This was a greater rift, that'd be really handy. I always feel a bit duded when you get speed pylons actually in greater rift, because they don't really benefit you a lot. Like, sure, they allow you to move faster, but if you're not moving and you're just doing fighting and stuff, you're not going to be taking full advantage of them, really. So. But we're doing okay here. We'll get up through here. Out this way. More enemies. These guys. Oh, legendary. So I'll identify that at the end of the round. We'll take a look at it. I'll do upgrades then as well. Just a bit easier that way than sort of trying to do it piecemeal through the run. That's kind of the prize for sitting through the videos. Oh, what items did I get? So, yeah, we'll get there. These guys. So, this rift has basically been, this is like the third floor of essentially the same rift. So much for it being Enchanted Land. Enchanted Land makes me think it'd be full of like sunshine and rainbows and ponies. But I suppose Diablo 3 already has that because Whimsydale, so. But yes. I like Whimsydale. Here we go, we're gonna, shouldn't be too far. And that's our next thing, so we got full broadside. Other stuff, lightning rod, spike trap, lightning rod. I don't use spike trap. Is spike trap even any good? I don't think I've ever seen any build that uses spike trap. I'm sure there are builds out there that do, just not ones I've ever used. I generally don't like playstyles that involve laying down traps like that. Like, I like to directly shoot things and stuff like that. Because laying down traps means positioning, and I'm just not very good at positioning and sort of leading enemies into where I need them to go. It's why I don't use Caltrops either, because it just requires too much positioning for me. Like, even sentries kind of shit me off in that regard. But at least with sentries, the benefit is much greater than it would be with some of the other things. So clear these guys out a little bit too. Oh, we've got Orlash, great. Orlash is actually getting a bit of a buff in 2.2 as well. He's gaining some of Diablo's moves, which is great because, you know, he's not already the hardest of the Rift Guardians. So. I don't know though, like, I know a lot of people think he is the hardest Rift Guardian, but I've never really felt that with Orlash. Like, I'd prefer to get Orlash than, say, Perdition or, I forgot the name, the one that jumps around all over the place. Is it Rock Crusher or something like that? I've forgotten the name, but there's one that, like, has that rampage attack where he just jumps everywhere, and that can be really annoying if you're not paying attention. But yeah, I know a lot of people seem to think Orlash is the toughest, so I've never really felt that myself though. Blood shards, yay. Didn't really get much else out of that. Now let's see what we've got here. Well, we've got that legendary, which looks like it's braces. Yep. So those are Custarian wrist guards, which aren't great, but I reckon they are a bit of an upgrade. They're a massive upgrade, actually. Now I look at that. Have we got anything else that's an upgrade? Oh, finally an upgrade to our quiver, which is good. That is not really an upgrade, even with the sockets filled. That's not really an upgrade to either of my rings. It doesn't look like we've got much else in the way of upgrades from this run, so. But that's okay. We can do that. Oh, that could be an upgrade, actually, if I put. But it doesn't have a socket, and I'm not re-enchanting it. Oh well. Okay, so that's everything for this run. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you again next time.